All right, let's just jump right in. If you're a sensitive soul, a helper, or, just someone who feels things really, really deeply, you know this struggle. How do you possibly care for the world, for the people you love, without completely losing yourself in the process? That's what we're going to get into today, how to hold all that beautiful compassion and not burn out. And this question, man, this is the big one, isn't it? It is right at the core of everything. So many of us are tangled up in this. We have this fear that if we say no, or if we try to protect our own energy, we're somehow being selfish or cold. But what if that's not even the real choice we have to make?
So, let's start where a lot of us find ourselves. That really painful place where our own compassion starts to feel like a burden, where we care so much that it actually physically hurts. Just take a look at this list. Does any of this ring a bell? Maybe you're the one tearing up at a commercial, or you find yourself saying yes to one more thing when your entire body is just screaming, no! That feeling of being totally drained, like you're a sponge for other people's pain, and then feeling guilty for just wanting to rest? Yeah, these are all classic signs of compassion overload.
There's this story that just perfectly captures this. A woman was in a Tonglen meditation group. That's a practice where you breathe in suffering and breathe out relief. But she couldn't just focus on one person. She felt like she had to breathe in all of it, every bit of pain in the world. War, hunger, you name it. And of course, she was just completely crushed by it. That's not compassion. That's compassion collapse. So here's the big idea. The problem isn't that you care too much. It's not a flaw. The problem is that your compassion might be running without its twin engine, discernment. Think of discernment as the wisdom that helps you navigate. It lets you care, it lets you be present, without getting totally swallowed up. It's the missing piece of the puzzle. Now, this isn't all just in your head. Let's talk about how this overload actually shows up in our bodies, because our nervous system has a very real, very biological reaction to all this emotional weight. When you see someone else in pain, your body kicks into gear. That tightness in your chest, that lump in your throat, those are not personal failures. That's your body's incredible empathy system saying, hey, something is wrong and I care. The only problem is, our bodies were designed for short bursts of this, not the 24/7 news cycle we live in now. And when our system gets totally overwhelmed, it flips into survival mode. Now, we've all heard of fight, flight, and freeze. But there's a fourth one that is a total game changer for understanding this. It's called the fawn response. This is where you try to make everyone happy, say yes to everything, and fix everybody else's problems, all in an attempt to calm the storm that's raging inside of you. And this is such a huge shift in perspective. People-pleasing isn't some character flaw. It's not a weakness. For so many of us, it is a deeply wired survival strategy that we learned a long, long time ago just to feel safe in the world. Okay, so we've covered how the body responds. Now let's dig into the psychological side, the stories and the conditioned beliefs that are driving this intense need to help all the time. A lot of us learned early on that to feel safe and loved, we had to play a certain part. Did you learn you had to be the helper, the good one, maybe the fixer, or the one who always kept the peace? We got really good at sensing what other people needed, sometimes even before they knew it themselves. And if you dig under all of those roles, you'll find this fundamental, often unconscious belief, my safety, my very sense of belonging, depends on making sure everyone around me is okay. When that's the program you're running, of course, setting a boundary feels terrifying. It can feel like a threat to your survival. This brings us to probably one of the most powerful and liberating questions you can ask yourself when you feel that wave of someone else's pain about to crash over you. Before you jump in to fix it, just pause. Take a breath and ask yourself this. Is this feeling, is this burden, even mine to carry?
And that question, is it mine to carry, is the perfect doorway into this next idea. Looking at boundaries not as some selfish, harsh thing, but as a necessary, even a sacred act of integrity.
Many of us who are drawn to a spiritual path have soaked up ideas that can get a little distorted. We hear, put others before yourself, and we translate it as, my needs are completely irrelevant. But if you look closer at the actual wisdom, it's always about balance. It's about pairing that big-hearted compassion with wisdom. It's about pairing giving with the necessity of rest. And this leads to such a crucial distinction and a really potent metaphor. When we give from a place of being totally drained, or from anxiety, or from that feeling of obligation, that's not really skillful love. It's leakage. We're just leaking out our own life force, and it doesn't really help anyone in the long run, especially not ourselves.
This quote just nails the whole shift in thinking. A boundary is not a wall that you build to keep people out. It's an act of integrity. It's a quiet, firm, and loving declaration that says, my well-being matters. I can serve from a full cup, not an empty one. I'm worthy of my own care too.
All right, so we've looked at the what and the why of overcaring. Now let's get down to the how. This is where we get practical. Let's talk about some real tools and gentle practices to help you find your way back to yourself.
Okay, here is a super simple, but definitely not always easy, practice you can start using literally today. When somebody asks you for something, don't give that automatic yes. Step 1, just pause. Step 2, check in with yourself. Ask, do I actually want to do this? And do I even have the capacity for it right now? And if the answer is no, step 3 is to decline with love. Something as simple as, not today, but I'm wishing you well, is a complete sentence.
And here are a few more gentle ways to regulate your system when you feel overwhelmed. First, titrate your compassion. That just means don't try to hold the whole world at once. Focus on one person, one thing. Second, feel your body's edges. That tight jaw, that shallow breath, that's your body telling you where your limits are. Listen to it. And finally, anchor in beauty. Seriously, go look at a sunset, listen to music. Awe and gratitude are incredible nervous system resets.
Sometimes, when things get really intense, all you need is a simple mantra to bring you back home. Try this one on. Just repeat it to yourself, maybe with a hand on your heart. I can care deeply without caring at all. It's just a little reminder that you can be present and loving without taking on burdens that aren't yours to hold. And really, that brings us to the whole point of this, the final takeaway. Please hear this. You do not have to choose between being a compassionate, open-hearted person and being a healthy, okay person. It is not an either-or. The whole journey is about finding that beautiful, sacred space where you get to be both.